Yes.
Eamon Khan here for Seconds Out. Pleasure to be joined by top nutritionist to the boxing stars, Greg Marriott. Greg, first of all, I introduce you as, I guess, a nutritionist expert, but I was in the lobby yesterday and I was just getting my work done. I was listening to someone play on the piano yesterday and I was thinking, blimey, this person's really good. And then fast forward about half an hour, because you were playing for quite a bit of time, I saw the Furies pop over. I thought I'd have a little peek as well too. And it was Hughes, Mozart reborn almost on the piano, banging out some tunes. And to boot, a voice as well. You're a man of many talents.
Listen, I've had anything I do, people know I do it 100%. If I don't think I'm any good, I won't do it. So I've always been inspired by music, learned myself guitar. I can sing. I used to sing at people's weddings, just on the side, just lots of fun. But now I learned myself the piano, bought myself a piano and just learned it myself. So, and I've just had a serious operation. So I thought, well, what better time to, can't move, can't really walk, learn the piano. So learnt it, and there's a Steinway and Sons over there. So that's a 60 grand piano plus. So I thought, bang away on that.
How long did it take you to learn piano?
6 months.
No way.
I swear, honestly, seriously. Not even, I was playing good tunes after about a couple of weeks, to be fair. Listen, anything that you want to do in life, you really put your mind to it, you can do anything. Like I think people cap themselves off to believe that, that's a bit too, I'd love to do that. Anybody can achieve anything. So it is, honestly. Just a bit of discipline and consistency. I think there's a saying, sorry to interrupt you. I think there's a saying, if you do something half an hour every day at a particular trade, you're 90% better than everyone else in the world. Something like that. So,
Honestly, you genuinely inspired me, because about 3 weeks back, I was looking to pick something up to fill some time, and drums was on the agenda. I've got a few mates who play drums and can teach a few lessons as well too. As is piano, we've got a keyboard downstairs, not a full-size piano, but a big enough keyboard. And it's just been like gathering dust in the living room. So I think I'll try my hand. I'll get some tips out from you as to how to start the basics and stuff afterwards. But I think that's kind of set me on that path. So I appreciate that, Greg. Let's get into the boxing talk, though. Yes. You're here, of course, part of Team Fury, helping Roman and Tommy prepare for this fight. What, in this point between a weigh-in and fight night, what do you do to get the fighters fueled up for their fights?
So everything's done in preparation before this. So if you can understand, I get a lot of people coming to me and say, I've got a fight next week. But again, it's like almost saying, in the same analogy is almost saying, I've got a fight next week. Can you do me some training? I've done nothing. You know? So it's the weeks of preparation, what's done 8-9 weeks before that to get them to this point. So obviously for Tommy for this fight, obviously he's 95 kilo, the weighing weight was, so we didn't really have to restrict him, or he's not making a weight that he's having to boil down to. And it's not even about eating up, because Tommy's been training at this weight for a good 8 weeks. So I always say he's grown into that weight. It's not like he were 85 kilo and put 10 kilo on and his body can't carry it. So it's just about recovery more than anything. So feeding him the fuel, and it's easier because he can eat as much as he wants, but not overeat. So it's getting the right foods at the right times, the right carbohydrates at the right times. So obviously pre-workout, post-workout, things like that. And just managing, it's always about managing people. I always say there's a lot of nutritionists in this industry. To be fair, I don't know many at all. I just keep myself to myself and do my own thing. But again, just in the world, a PhD nutritionist or whatever, if you go to university and you get all these people, but it's about managing people. So in boxing, why am I so successful? Because I understand people. It's managing that person, understanding their mental mind behind, satiating the mind with food. Not just, well, this is what it says, black and white, and that's what you're eating. But if you've not got someone who's really inspired by what you're doing, and as a person as well, bouncing off and feeding off them, that's why Tyson had me. It's about understanding that person and what makes them tick with food. Obviously there's guidelines, but you have to almost like kidology. You have to almost make them thinking that they are the ones that are telling you, oh, I want that, yeah, give it them. But there's a lot more complex scenarios that we have to go through, but I don't tell a boxer that. A boxer likes to be nice and simple. Start hitting boxers with science and understanding food and what happens in the body on a cellular level. They're not interested. They're just interested in nice food and that's it. So I don't go into that detail with them. That's just all kept in my mind. But I've learnt it all, and I just adopt it to everybody because everybody's individual. So it's a one-to-one relationship with everybody who I work with. It's not just like, oh, yeah, you can have the same diet. And I think a lot of people, when I do work with them and I'm sending them diets, the trainers will get that and they'll think, oh, we don't need Greg anymore. We'll just do what we did last time with him. And for me, that's just ridiculous because they'll hit a brick wall, which they always do. I've just had a fella there for me before we got on here, and he's like, can you tell me rehydration in 2 weeks for my kids? I'm like, I don't work like that. You know, you can't just do that. It's what happens previous weeks. And now 5 weeks easier. But for Tommy and Roman right now, getting the food in now, it's just simple basic food. What's going to inspire them? And I said to him this morning, what do you like? What do you want today? So there's limitations on what they can have, but I want them to go in that ring 100% mentally fueled. And like they both said, okay, you're prepped up before you go in. So I bring more than just food. It's me. I am the product. So I'm Marriott Nutrition. I am the product. I live it. I breathe it. You see me in there eating the egg whites at me. What do you do it for? But a serious operation because they can see that I'm doing it. Just for what? I'm not getting no money for fighting. They pay me if they're doing a job, but I'm the product. They invest in me because they see how I live my life. So it's more than just knowing nutrition. It's about how to apply it and apply it to that individual. That's the key.
So how does, and going to, speaking of Tyson and heavyweight, how does he differ to everyone else getting a heavyweight prep? Of course, they don't have to make weight, but you're looking to make an ideal weight in a general sense. How does Tyson differ to other fighters that you work with in terms of their nutrition?
Again, Tyson's a loud character, a very, very loud character. So just touching on what I said before about mentally satiating him, that is the biggest key. That is the biggest key. Now, I don't want that, not interested in that meal. But so it's almost tapping into his mind. And it's almost like, do you know Darren Brown?
Yeah, the magician.
It's almost like doing that. You know, you have to set the scene beforehand and make it like it's his choice. You have to drop little things in the day, and that's very, very taxing on your mind. So throughout camp with Tyson, I have to do that every day. Just drop little things. Then it'll be his idea, oh, why don't we have that tonight? Can do that for you. But I've already anticipated what I want him to have. But I have to drop it, I have to like just drip feed it throughout the day. And it might sound strange, but it's how you get the boxers to think it's their way. Because if you tell a boxer, you're doing this, they'll just regress and they'll negate it. So, but with Tyson, again, with the heavyweight, he was only eating two big meals a day. No good for anybody. And I think because they're not making a weight, it's just like, oh, we'll just train like a madman and eat and just eat when we can and eat anything. It's not about that. I got Tyson eating like 6-7 meals a day. Usyk won before he got cut. The fittest Tyson's ever been for him. And I say for him, could have got a lot fitter, to be fair, in my mind. But I think he'd have beat Usyk at that point if he'd not got cut. I do honestly. I still think he won first fight, to be fair, by probably a point. Could have gone either way, but I still think he won. And then in the second fight, I just think there's more. There was so much more he could have done. Personally, I do.
You were just speaking with John, and obviously we had a little brief chat off camera yesterday when we met each other. For the second fight, John was mentioning he wasn't happy with the strength and conditioning side of things, not your side, I guess, but he was, I think, nearly 20 pounds heavier for the second one. It could have been a lot stronger, I guess. John was mentioning. What do you think from the preparation side of things went awry to mean that Tyson couldn't be at his best in the second fight?
You see, it's hard coming from someone like me because I had this conversation before, but when I first got into camp, and we were having back and forths, and I did say, for this fight, you have to be, and I'm only speaking from experience. I can only speak from experience. There are a lot of gyms out there that you've got a lot of fit kids, I know that, but I've never experienced that firsthand, with him. So this terminology that I'm going to use is only from my life experience. And I said, to beat Usyk, you have to be Ingle gym fit. So how fit Kell Brook was in camp, because I've lived with him, Kid Gallard, that fitness level in that gym is ridiculous. And there's many other gyms. I know that Steve Mailer's gym from Finest Boxing Gym, I work a lot close with his kids, super fit kids. I said, you have to be that fit to win this fight. It's not about being technical and oh, you've got to step this way and put your foot here and do all that. Tyson Fury were born with a gift, like Lionel Messi was. Do you understand? Get him super fit, wind him up, send him out. And this might sound a bit crazy, and they'll say, "Well, what do you know? You're just a chef." I'm not a chef for a start. I'm a nutritionist. I don't really like cooking food, but I've become very good at it because it comes with part of the job. As long as people's washing and everything else, and mentally, the psychiatrist and the mother, the brother, that's what you have to become in camp. But for Tyson, I said to him, I says, you have to just be super fit. Now, I think what's happening in that camp is overcomplicating things. It's Usyk now, let's overcomplicate it. And I think that's what happened. Instead of just making him super fit, and he was at that point before he got cut, overcomplicating it. And again, I just think Tyson, you could just send him out, wind him up, and if he's up here perfect, 100% mental fit and mind fit and body fit, you can't teach Tyson anything. And I stand by it. I said he's never going to lose, and he should have never lost against Usyk both times. It shouldn't have not even been close. Now, Usyk's unbelievable, don't get me wrong. And in hindsight now, everything that I said has kind of come to fruition, because Usyk is unbelievable, but not as unbelievable as Tyson. But the two fights, people say, well, he lost. Yes, he did. He should have never have lost because he's that good. But I think a lot of things in camp got overcomplicated. But my voice will only go so far because I'm a nutritionist. What do I know? I've been around the world. I've been to the school of life, regardless. Forget boxing. I've been to the school of life. I'd have everything. My story's insane. I'm not just been in one camp all day and that's all I know. Oh, Tyson. No, I've been on every camp. I've seen every trick in boxing, every personality. I've seen every training camp, bad training camps, shocking ones, great ones, world championship ones, average ones. And I just think for that one, I'm just thinking, I didn't like what I saw. And I just thought, this is getting overcomplicated. And it kind of come to fruition at ring. And it's sad because what do I know? But everything that I thought and I said, it kind of materialised in the end, which is sad because I feel sorry for Tyson in that respect because she should have never lost. Just being super fit and off you go, do your thing. Wilder won. Yeah. Do you not think that Wilder won were the best he's ever fought? People say, well, no, Wilder 2 when he had a war. That's a great spectacle, but you don't need to take... It was good, and even Tyson said that himself, but getting knocked down, coming back, yeah, that was great for the spectacle. But for me, Wilder won. Slip, move, couldn't touch him. Yeah, he got in at 12th round, a lapse of concentration. That's what Wilder were banking on. But then he rose from the dead, almost, so to speak. And I think that's the best Tyson we've seen. After that, 2, 3, and then Chisora, Dillian White. I think that was the best. And I think it might have been a bit of complacency in them camps to be, no disrespect, but you're fighting Usyk, who's a mover. He's fit. Is he fitter and better than Ngannou? What is he? Would you say he's better than Ngannou? Usyk?
Yeah, he's fitter than.
Fitter than and better than Chisora, no disrespect.
Yeah.
And Dillian White.
Yeah.
So you're training there at a level. Wilder, yeah, because he's looking to detonate. And no disrespect to them fighters, they're great fighters. When you're talking Tyson Fury, he's another level. And I just think that when it came to Tyson, I just think that maybe through them fights, what I've seen, got a bit like, well, this is the level and I'm doing this. It needed to be from there to there for Usyk, And that might have been where the gap is, where it was probably just there and it needed to be there.
You mentioned Ingle Gym Fit, and I remember years back there were some reports that Tyson was doing a little bit of training with Dom Ingle. Do you ever think there was a point in time where maybe that relationship could have been extended a little bit more than just that training period?
I'm going to keep this short and sweet. Should have. 1,000,000% should have. And it's not because me and Dominic, listen, I've known Dominic for years, a very, very good friend, got me into the business, you know, and I've owed him a lot over the years for welcoming me into the boxing, and Brendan, you know, the legend himself, God bless his soul. And I just think that I'm very privileged to have learned my trade throughout the Ingle gym, from the school and from Brendan. Don't do this, don't do that, don't do this, don't do this. You know, because you can get swept away in it all. I never get swept away in boxing. And I think that's why I'm still at the elite level, because, oh, look at this, it's all smoke and mirrors. No one cares about anybody else apart from the boxer. So I learned that very, very quickly, and I got taught that. So do I think that Tyson Fury would have flourished under Dominic Ingle? Yes, because if someone's got a God-given talent, like when Billy Joe came to the camp, you don't change what Billy Joe had. You just get him super fit. That's all we did. All we did. He knows it himself. That's all we did. Got Billy Joe super fit and got his mental mind happy in the camp, and then let him go. And what did he do? Yeah, that performance against Lemieux. And for me, one of the best boxing, one of the best boxing spectacles you're going to see from a boxing point of view for me. Punch perfect. You know, watch it again. I don't know if you probably saw that fight. Amazing. Yeah, it might be Lemieux, but he'd have done that to anybody. And then again, when it came to Canelo, kind of similar to what's happened with Tyson. I saw things that I was like, this ain't top level. And that's what happened. I still believe he could have probably beat Canelo. People might say no, but unless you're in the camp and you see it, and I'm telling you on camera, I believe that. So with Tyson, you can't teach him anything. You know, and I think maybe Sugar Lee Self said I'm a teacher, but when you've got someone that with a God's gift talent, you ain't teaching that man nothing. He knows it all. His boxing IQ is frightening. It is. And I just think that trying to teach someone different things and change him at that point, not for me. Just make him super fit. So yeah. So the answer to that is, I think he should have been with Dominic Ingle. Get him super fit. That's it.
At current, Tyson has announced his retirement. He's done that before, but it seems to, at least from the outside looking in, from what he's posted, he's doing a little bit of training, but he seems to put a full stop on his career as of right now. Do you think that's a complete full stop, or do you think we'll see him return to the ring?
Yeah, he's been phoning me a few times. We've been having some good conversations, and I know that he's here today, so we'll have a good conversation. Boxing is never going to leave him. Even if he lives a fruitful life till, hopefully, 100-year-old past it, it's never going to leave him. He'll always think one more. It's in him. He's 36. People say, oh, he's past it now. Realistically, is 36 past it?
In the heavyweights, no.
You know? Like, you passed it when you want it to be passed. I still think he's got a lot to give. I'm not saying he should fight or shouldn't fight. It's entirely up to him. Listen, he's got generational wealth. He's done what he wanted to set out to do. But I don't know if them 2 defeats did something to him, like he can't leave it there. You know? Mm-hmm. I wouldn't. I'm not telling him to do whatsoever. Let him ride off into the sunset. But for me, I couldn't accept that. Especially what I saw. If you give everything, I was like, wow, you've done everything there. As an outsider looking in, you've done absolutely everything. You know, you can't get better than that, and you come unstuck. But for me, I'm going to say this straight. I'm going to say it straight to the camera. That camp for me, Tyson Fury, he might say he did everything, but I promise you, for me, that camp was 60% of Tyson Fury. A 60% Tyson Fury. And if he watches the story done, take it or leave it. And he knows that I speak truth, but that's a 60% Tyson Fury he got. And he just come unstuck. You know?
Interesting. Greg, you're the perfect person because I've been meaning to speak to someone about this, and it would have been great to speak to you beforehand, but it's since happened, and that is the rivalry between Eubank Jr. and Conor Benn. And we know that Eubank Jr. had to weigh down to 160 and then rehydrate to 170 the day after. Now, as a nutritionist, I wanted to ask you what it takes to get that person from 160 to 170, make sure they stay below their target weight, but also make sure they're about as fueled as they can be, so they're not going into, or they can negate how depleted they are on the night. From the outside looking in, when you saw that, what processes were going in your mind? What were you thinking about Eubank Jr.'s journey in that 24-hour period to get to then fight night?
I mean, it's all like the IBF rule, isn't it? That's a £10. That's a £10 limit. So they put that in so it kind of safeguards people to not be too heavy. I think it's detrimental. I really, really do. I think it's far more detrimental. And even coming into weight and having to make these check weighs and check weights, all this, people dehydrate themselves on the Wednesday or Thursday for check weighing, and then weighing on Friday. And I just think you're dehydrating yourself, and then you're gonna be dehydrated for 2 days. That is so far detrimental than just saying, forget the check weigh-ins. I understand far out, but you're making the weight regardless. So when you're telling people to then restrict themselves from the rehydrating, just make the weight however you want to make it and get the doctor. I think you're good, because it's a lot far better for you being loaded with water and being dehydrated for as least amount of time as possible than it is for 2 days. The damage, you can have the perfect camp for 12 weeks, and the damage can be done if you dehydrate yourself for too long, for more than a day or two. You can be absolutely done. So it probably takes about 40 hours to get that back, especially around your brain. So when I saw that, I mean, when he got cameraed and stuff, I thought, would you do that? I don't know. Listen, there were a lot going on in that. I don't know if it was just for show or not. But then when I saw him weigh in, I thought, yeah, you can tell. You can just tell. I thought, he's really struggled to make that weight. You could tell. And then in the ring, I think that's why he had to stand toe-to-toe, which I don't think he had the legs to move. Now, again, with your question to make the £10 weight limit, again, that's what happened with Kell. So they stuck for him and Khan. They stuck a weight limit on him. The demands on that camp were just frightening. But Kell just did anything just to get, because he knew he were going to be victorious, to get in the ring. It took a long time coming. But I said to Kell, when they hit us with the stipulation about the £10 rule, and I said, you've got to, it's what happens again before. So if you've had a camp and you're trying to get a lot of weight off, so say if you get a lot of weight off in the last couple of weeks, as soon as you start eating, the rebound effect is going to be frightening. So you have to limit yourself. But I said, Kell, we had a 7-month camp for Kell. I lived on his bedroom floor. I had a mattress, but I said, forget a bed. I'm just going to do it. Let's just do it. 7 months I lived with him. His body, people don't understand this. His body, his metabolism was flying that much that when he got to the point of getting to the weight, he's never looked so good in his life. You got to admit, when he got on that stage, it was like, wow, Kell's rolled back the years. That's because he had time. You can't beat time in a camp. I've been with so many fighters who've got 6 weeks. I'm like, what have you been doing? Well, eating a bit of crap, eating a bit of shit. No, that's no good. We had 6 months with Kell where I got his metabolism firing that much that I said, when we get to the point of making the weight and putting the £10 on, I guarantee you won't even put that £10 on. I promise you, it'd be impossible. Ow, yeah, but it's never worked like before. I said, because you can't beat time. So I got his body such in a state where it was just turning over food that much. So every time he ate, the thermic effect of food just woof it right in. And he felt that fit. So when he got to put the £10 on, it was just burning through him at such a rate that he reached the limit. I didn't even have to really restrict. Obviously, I had to look at it thinking we can't go mad. But because you can over-swamp people. So people think, I'll eat loads of food and it swamps them. And they ain't got the legs. But what we did with Kell, I think he was about half a pound off the weight. And people couldn't believe it. But that's because he'd had, I'm not saying have 6 months. We only had to have 6 months for Kell because he was older. You know, he's more injury prone at that point. So a lot of recovery time. When you're young and hungry lion, and again, Conor Benn, Chris Eubank, maybe I think he should have probably had longer. If he'd have had longer in that camp and done everything right, he could have had 6-7 times a day. And he never put that £10, he could have utilised it and been a fire on all cylinders and be fit. But I can't speak too much about it because I don't know. I've not seen him in the camp and I don't know how he makes weight. But all I can speak about experience, and the same with Kell. Because listen, for him to get to 147 is insane. You know, and people didn't think he could do it and perform. And boy, did he perform. It's because you have time. But looking at Chris Eubank before that, I don't think maybe he had enough time probably to get, I know he's fit, but get his body in that mode, in that space of time to be able to then just eat what he wants. Not what he wants, but not having to limit himself with water or with food. So the rebound effect is not as much. So that's what I think.
So are you saying like that? So he makes the weight, or he misses it by half an ounce, but he gets through that weigh-in.
He never missed it. Never in a million years would he have missed that weight with me. I'm not. I love the kid. I think he's great what he's done. Really, really do. I'm not disputing the fact that have me for your next. Not interested, but I'm just saying, I would have made sure he never missed that weight. Just the preparation in before. I'd have said, right, do this, and it have not have been a miss. I'm saying it would have been hard to make the weight. I don't think he'd have ever missed it with me.
So that process, so he misses the weight by half an ounce, and then he's got the 170 the next day. Is that because you're saying maybe he didn't have the time that day? Then is that quality weight, for want of a better word, that he's putting on the water and the food? Because you're saying that his legs weren't under him. You feel that what he put on wasn't quality enough to get him to the peak performance where he needed to be.
No, it'll be quality food. Listen, he's a class operator. He's been doing it for how many years? He's not a daft fella. He's very articulate, and you've got to take your hat off to him. I love how he comes across. People love him or hate him. You know, I think he's a class operator in the ring. What he's done, how he still comes across. You know, I got a lot of respect from him after the Liam Smith fight as well. I really, really do. I'm not talking bad about him. And he might watch, probably won't even see this, but he might think that's completely wrong. But all I'm saying is he'll have done everything right to put that weight on. But they tried to kill him that much. It's like, really? So, but they tried to do this to Kell. And it was a blessing in disguise because Kell's fight got cancelled in October, got cancelled in December. It was supposed to be in December, and then they moved it to February. And I know why they did that, because they know that Kell loves Christmas. So they thought, and he didn't. Went out to Fortaventura at Christmas and New Year. Didn't even have a Christmas and New Year. Do you understand? So we had to do, me and Dominic, to keep him on. We didn't allow that to happen. I'm not saying Chris does that, because Chris is a class operator, and I think very professional. But I just think maybe that putting the £10 on like he's always done, it is hard for him, especially at his weight. Maybe I think that if he'd had a longer time, it might have been better. It might not have been. Might have still been. I'm not saying he didn't have his legs. I just think that because it did drain him that much, it's looked like he couldn't do what he usually does in the ring. You could see there was a bit of an impediment in there. There was a restriction there. That's when, and did he stand toe to toe. And I think he fought Conor Benn's actual fight that Conor Benn wanted, and Conor Benn still lost. So you've got to take that off to him. But I can only speak from previous experience with Kell, and I think maybe that if it had probably a longer time, he'd have never missed the weight. I've got to, and or not, he'll never miss the weight with me. Never in a million years.
I believe that Kell, he was ringside, and I believe he spoke to both the ring and Boxing King media, and he said that he was welcoming the winner, and that was Chris Eubank Jr. Having worked with Kell so closely, if he was to return to the ring at his age, what would it take? How long would it take to bring him back to where you'd want him to be? And do you think that would be enough to beat Eubank Jr., who's been more active than Kell has in recent years?
Very good question. Very good question. And I thought this, to be fair, because Kell says, "Oh yeah, I'll come back for Eubank." It's how much fights left in the old dog, Kell. You know, I think he has had a long time out, but he underachieved for me. He knows that himself. He really, really underachieved. He could have been unreal, and I mean unreal. But I'm not going to go into his personal details at all. I'm not about that, because I've got a lot of love for Kell. Obviously, they're both getting on. You know, let's say that the end of the career, the back end of the, well, he's retired, but especially Eubank Jr. is it the last trimester of his career, so to speak. So I think that, yeah, he's been more active, but Kell's a serious operator. Kell's a very serious operator. Unless he got in camp, Kell, and we'd had a look at him, you know, he'd probably have to do half a camp just for us to say, you've still got it or you haven't. You know, you wouldn't just say, come on, let's do a camp and throw him in. Wouldn't want that. Not off back end of Khan, because a lot of people do that. Oh, like one more, right? Team, we're still not interested, you know, in any of that. My work will always be there. A boxing life is very short. You got to get in and get out at the right time. But if that happened, yeah, it'd be a massive big fight. I remember before he got Golovkin, that was supposed to happen, him and Eubank. and it didn't. And then they said, "Oh, we'll give you Golovkin." Kell's like, I think he evaded Kell. Very, very precise, and that power never leaves you, But it's almost damage limitation at this age. How much left? Does he want it? He's not an young, hungry lion no more. Does it ruffle his feathers enough to think, yeah, I really want to do that? Or is it, there's enough money at it to throw it, so yeah, I'll get in. I wouldn't want that for Kell, so. But is that a fight that's supposed to be being made, or I've not heard of that? You tell me.
No, it's not in the offing by any sense, but it was just interesting to see Kell maybe taken a little bit by the moment because it was a spectacle, wasn't it, at Tottenham? But he wanted that fight. He seemed eager for it. And there's always kind of been whispers about him and Eubank and what would get him up for coming back. But he's also riding out on a great high against Amir Khan. So nothing's reported, nothing's mooted or anything. It was more just Kell's interest was there in the fight with Eubank Jr. So there's that possibility. Greg, great insights. Really appreciate the conversation. Hopefully the first of very many. For anyone who wants to follow you on social media, where can they find you for information about what you do?
Yeah, so Marriott Nutrition. I think it's at Greg_Nutritionist. DM me. Everybody knows who I am. I'm a busy man, but like I'm saying, there's a lot of people who need the right information out there. They are, and I advise anybody in the boxing scene to, before you've even got a date. A lot of people like dates. I can't get sorted before I get a date. That date will spring on you. This day and age now, you don't have. We've got 16 weeks of. You don't get that anymore. People want to put fights on, so you should be half ready, and majority of fighters are not. Stay ready, and then get the time behind you. Whatever you're going to use, get the time so it's an easy job for yourself. Because if not, it's just a harder job for everybody. And I think when you've only got 6 weeks, let's say, for a camp, you ain't got the time. But people will do it because they see the money. You haven't got the time to recover in them 6 weeks, because recovery is just as important as it is training. You haven't got the time, and no matter who you use, no matter what nutritionist you use, yeah, you might get there a bit safer and a bit better, but realistically, no matter how much food you put into someone or what you do, you can't beat time. You cannot beat time. Stay fit, stay healthy, stay ready. I'm doing it, and I don't even fight. I'm trying to be that inspiration to boxers to say, wow, he does it, and look at him. I'm on a stick, can't really walk properly, I had a serious operation, and I live and breathe it. I've been in them baths. I'm 11 stone 13. That's light for a 6'3" man. And I'm there just to prove. I'm trying to get to a shape where I'm like, look, everybody, look how I'm doing it. And I got in a bath at 11 stone 13. I did a 17-minute bath at 42 degrees. So I'm not going to tell you really the ways around are getting weight off, but I've done a 17 minutes. It's a long time in a 42-degree bath, that, and I did it when I'm absolutely shredded.
Technical difficulties there, Greg, and you were in the flow of conversation, so apologies for that. Lucky I do bring a backup battery with me, but you were saying that you've lived it and breathed it in the process of what you do.
I'm 42-year-old. I'm still living and breathing it like it's like I want to be on someone who's 20 stone. They want to start a nutrition journey. That's what it's like again. I'm 42. I'm doing it again after my operation. Right, here we go again. It's always brand new for me. I say I've been in them baths. I've been in the 17-minute bath at 42 degrees. I've done it all. I've come out. I'm like, wow. I want to. When I'm telling a boxer what to do, I want to be able to say, I've done it. I've done it. Get it done. I've done everything. I even diet. I've dieted and had the same food as Kell. He's making 10.5 stone, Kell. I've had the same food as him, the same portions, not even in bigger. And it were hard. Obviously he's training. I was training, trying to emulate. I'm not going to emulate what he's doing, but, for me, it was kind of on par. So I'm doing what boxers are doing. So they're like, invest in me and what I'm telling you, because I'm doing it. When we go out, you don't see me hanging around at after parties after. Very professional. I do my job and go out. I'm like, sometimes I'm not in a ring. Can't get anywhere with this daft leg, but no, it's like, having little photos and look at us. Not interested. My work speaks for itself, and that's why I'm still doing what I'm doing. And that's why I'm operating at this elite level, because I've seen it all. I'm not interested in the smoking mirrors and the entourage and all that. I'm very professional, and I do what I do. And people, I don't sit around in lobbies at night time drinking wine with everybody like, some other nutritionists and like having a pizza and like, oh, come on, you got to eat that. No, I'm in bed and I'm doing what my boxer's doing. They know that I'm serious. Do you know what I mean? And I think that goes a long way for boxers to think, you know what, he's doing it. He's doing something right. If you want to make £1 million, are you going to hang around with people who are on benefits? No disrespect to that. You know, who don't want to work, who don't want a job, who are very able to work. Do you want to hang around with them people? Are they going to make you £1 million? If you want to be a millionaire? Not for everybody. No, you're not. You're going to put yourself at bottom of pecking order, and you're going to put yourself around high-flying businessmen to learn. Do you understand? So me in nutrition, that's what I'm saying to people. I'm the product. My brand, Marriott Nutrition, I am the product. Nobody else. I ain't got anyone working with me who I can send. Oh, you go down there. No. So I can't trust them because nobody can do what I do on my level. Nobody. I don't mean about nutrition knowledge enough. I'm just saying nobody can live how I live. Get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, train with a leg that's half hanging off. Nobody can do that. Nobody goes through the discipline that I have. And there's no motivation left for me. What motivation have I got left to do? I'm in the business, I've done it, I've cracked it. Becomes a discipline. It becomes a discipline. And once I'll say this, and I'll finish on this. Once your emotions are stronger than your mindset, you're finished. And that's one thing that'll never ever beat me in my mindset. Concrete mindset in my shape, in my nutrition. Yeah, I'm not the biggest kid. I'll get there. I've had a lot to deal with. I've had cancer. I've been through all sorts of shit. But listen, it's not me getting in the ring either. That's the biggest test for people. And I always said to people, I'd rather someone 100% mental than physical to get in that ring.
Very final thing, I know you wanted to finish on that, but remiss for me if I didn't mention, of course, I've seen you getting about and with a cane. As much as you want to say as to your health, what is the current condition and what have you been going through recently?
Oh, I am going to write a book. 27, cancer and my femur. I had half my bone out, halfway down my knee to my hip. 5 operations later, did Tyson's comeback. He want me for Wilder. I had to have it done again. I've had 5 major operations. It's on there on the Instagram, the whole operation. You can see it. It says explicit content. Watch at your own discretion, because it is. A lot of people get put off by it. Yeah. That's what I've had done. I had that done in December. I had a big hole in my bone, and when I was working for Tyson, operating at elite level, I was on that many drugs just to get through the day. I didn't even want to exist, and I just didn't want to exist in that pain. You know, that's another mindset, like where, you know, I don't believe in just laying down and saying, oh, I can't do it anymore. No, I was still operating. I'd got a big hole in my bone. The worst pain ever. And I had the operation in December and laid in the hospital bed. I was dieting. No. I was dieting from December in the hospital bed. Couldn't move. And I mean couldn't move. Couldn't even sit up past 90 degrees. Otherwise my leg would have popped out. Very, very serious major operation. Could have lost my leg. Could have lost my life. It was very serious. And I've had 4 of them done. And now it's all the way down to my knee. All my hip is gone completely. So there's not a lot of muscle there. So that's why we're dieting. So I've not been able to really train much, do anything. And I'm in awesome shape, and that's just down to my diet. And then after that, I got off that after 12 weeks, went back down to Birmingham with the ambulance, had the old rehabilitation, and they were bringing me home, and I thought, oh, what's that? And then I got appendicitis. Severe, straight into hospital. Oh my God. It never stops. But now I'm moving around on a crutch. I probably have to have this for a long time to learn to walk properly, because I've got a severe walking impediment, but it is what it is. But I'm still doing it. I could lay in that chair, and for people who know my story, and if I were in a wheelchair and saying I can't do much, they'd accept it. Never for me, never, ever. And I'm still doing what I'm doing. That's the mental mindset you have to have. So no, I'm doing good, and I'm still back on top.
Great place to leave it, Greg. Pleasure. Thank you so much for your time. I knew it'd be a good conversation. So once again, hopefully the first of many. Thank you so much, and
thank you.
Catch up very soon, sir.
All right, man. Thank you.
Good man.